Okay, so you're here to check your answers for problem number 2. So you can go ahead and pause the video here and check that you got the same properties that I did. If you didn't, well, if you did, then go on to the next problem. If you did not, then stick around and figure out how I knew each property was being used. Okay, so if you're still watching, that means that maybe you didn't get all the properties that I did, and so you need some explanation as to what was going on in this problem. So we started off with this problem, and I noticed in this problem we have a giant fraction. And generally when you have a giant fraction, you want to get rid of it. So since the denominator of this giant fraction is 4, I know that I can undo that by multiplying by 4. So they multiplied both sides of the equation by 4, and so if you multiply both sides of the equation by the same value, that's multiplication property of equality. Okay, then they do whatever math that does, and then we end up with this new expression, 8x minus 20. Well, what they did is they distributed that 4 using distributive property. Okay, then they went on and they did a couple more math things. And then what I see here is I'm looking at these two and I'm trying to see what's different in between these two, and I see, oh, I have a minus 6x and a minus 6x. I did not have this before, so if they're subtracting the same amount from each side, this is subtraction property of equality. Okay, they go and they simplify that here. 8x minus 6x gives us 2x, 6x minus 6x goes away. And then the next thing I see when I'm looking in here is I see this was 4, now it's 4 plus 20. If I check the other side, they also added 20 there. If you're adding the same amount to both sides, that's using the addition property of equality. Okay, and last but not least, if we come down here to the bottom, we can see very clearly that they're dividing both sides of the equation by 2. That is division property of equality. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and go on to problem number 3, which is pretty short, but I want to give you a heads up. Where it says distributive and addition property of equality, you have to figure out what the equation should be if you'd use these steps, okay?